Welcome to aminacademy.com in human anatomy and physiology regarding carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism. We talk about both catabolic and anabolic process occurs continuously in all cells. Very active tissues such as muscle or liver need a large energy supply to support their requirements. What is energy? The energy produced in the body may be measured and expressed in units of work, joules, or units of heat, kilocalories. 1 kilocalorie is 4184 joules or 4.184 kilojoules. Energy balance. Energy balance is important as it determines changes in body weight. Body weight remains constant when energy intake is equal to energy use. When intake exceeds requirements, body weight increases, which may lead to obesity. Conversely, body weight decreases when nutrient intake does not meet energy requirements. Now, what is carbohydrate metabolism? Erythrocytes and neurons can use only glucose for fuel, and therefore maintenance of blood glucose level is needed to provide a constant energy source to the cells. Most other cells can also use other source of fuel. Glucose may be oxidized to provide the chemical energy in the form of ATP. Some glucose may remain in the circulating blood to maintain the normal blood glucose of about 3.5 to 8 millimoles per liter, nearly about 63 to 144 mg per 100 ml. Next, all body cells requires energy to carry out their metabolic process, including multiplication for replacement of worn out cells, muscle contractions, and synthesis of glandular secretions. Carbohydrate energy releases. Glucose is broken down in the body releasing energy, carbon dioxide and metabolic water. Catabolism of glucose occurs in a series of steps with a little energy being released at each stage. Aerobic respirations, catabolism. Aerobic catabolism of glucose can occur only when the oxygen supply is adequate and is the process by which energy is released during prolonged manageable exercises. Next, we talk about protein metabolism. Dietary protein consists of number of amino acids. About 20 amino acids have been named and 9 of these are described as essential because they cannot be synthesized in the body. Amino acids not required for building up, repairing body tissues cannot be stored and are broken down into the liver. Amino acid pool. A small pool of amino acid is maintained within the body. This is the source from which the body cells draw the amino acids they need to synthesize their own materials. For example, new cells are cell components, secretions such as enzymes, hormones, and plasma proteins. Sources of amino acids. Exogenous, these are derived from the dietary protein. Endogenous, these are obtained from the breakdown of existing body proteins. Loss of amino acids. Diminution. Amino acids are not needed by the body or broken down or diminuted mainly in the liver. Next is fat metabolism. Fat is synthesized from the excess dietary carbohydrate and proteins and stored in the fat depots, that is, under the skin, in the omentum or around the kidneys. Fat that have been digested and absorbed as fatty acids and glycerols into the lacteals are transported via the systema chyli and the thoracic duct of the lymphatic system to the bloodstream, and so by a by circuitous route to the liver. Fatty acids and glycerol circulating in the blood are used by the cells to provide energy and to synthesize some of their secretions. Fatty acids and energy release. When body tissues are deprived of glucose, as occurs in prolonged fasting, starvation, energy restricted diets, or during strenuous exercises, the body uses alternative energy sources, mainly fat stores. Fatty acids may be converted to acetyl coenzymes. Now let us discuss further detail about carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism, how it's happened. Carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism involves the body breaking down these macronutrients for energy and to build new molecules. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which is used for immediate energy or stored as glycogen. Proteins are broken down into amino acids, which are used to build new proteins, or when in excess can be converted to glucose or ketones for energy. Fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol to be used for energy, stored in triglycerides, or used to form other molecules like cholesterol. What is carbohydrate metabolism? Look at this. This is a pathway of carbohydrate metabolism. Digestion. Carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugars, primarily glucose, in the digestive tract. Cellular uptake. Glucose enters cells and is phosphorylated to glucose 6 phosphate, which can then be used in various metabolic pathways. Energy production. Glucose can be broken down through glyco, glycolysis to produce ATP, the body's primary energy currency. Storage. Excess glucose is stored in glycogen in the liver and muscles. Regulation. Blood glucose levels are maintained through a process gluconeogenesis, that is creating new glucose, and glycogenolysis, breaking down stored glycogen. Protein metabolism, what is that? Digestion. Proteins are broken down into amino acids, which are absorbed into the bloodstream. Building and repair. Amino acids are used to synthesize new proteins for muscle, enzymes, hormones, and other structures. Energy production. In times of starvation or excess, amino acids can be converted to glucose or re-enter or enter the metabolic pathways to be used for energy. Wasted removal. The nitrogen from amino acid is converted to urea in the urea cycle and is excreted by the kidneys. Fat, lipid metabolism. What is that? Digestion. Fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol, which are then absorbed. Energy production. Fatty acids are major source of energy for many tissues, especially during prolonged exercise or fasting. storage. Fatty acids and glycerol can be reassembled into the triglycerides and stored in adipose tissues. Other functions: fats provide insulation, protects organs, and are a source of fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, K. Interconnections: acetyl CoA is a central molecule that links carbohydrates, proteins, and fat metabolism. It is an intermediate product in the breakdown of all three macronutrients and a precursor for the synthesis of fatty acids, cholesterol, and ketone bodies. So far, we discussed about the metabolism of carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism. You have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.